Hey everyone, I have a question today from one of my more recent videos, which is titled OCD and Feeling Demotivated. And I want to talk about this because every once in a while, I do think it's good to go through some of the questions and answers like Jade does. I personally like picking one question and doing a deep dive into it. Obviously, I can't get to all of them because there's so many questions, but I do think this is a really important video because there's a lot of different points to touch on, a couple myths I'll break down, things I had to apply to my life, stuff that Rob taught me, and then things I apply to people in my coaching. Before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button down below, and let me know what you think about this. This is a really good question because I think a lot of people think this and/or are wondering about it. And if you're interested in our coaching and webinar services, please email us at phil@ocdrecovery.com. Again, that is phil@ocdrecovery.com, and we'll get back to you in a timely fashion. Okay. So I'm in a video in the park by my house. It came on the channel 3 days ago called OCD and Feeling Demotivated, and why it's so important to do things when you don't really want to. This is a great example. I didn't get the best sleep last night. I just tossed and turned all night, which is not abnormal for me. This happens to me a lot. That's why I usually take 20, 30-minute nap once a day, just because I don't sleep that well to begin with. Today, I'm a little bit more tired than usual, and I remember thinking I had a cancellation of my schedule just now, and I thought, and I have a busy day for the rest of the day. It's already 11 a.m. And I was thinking, you know what, I might as well do the video now because I probably won't have the time to do it later. So this is a really good practical example. I think a lot of people, when they watch people on social media, whether they have a lot of viewers, they think that people just don't get tired. And then they hide that, and then people have these belief systems that you always have to be at your best. There's no such thing as performing at your best, because performing at your best is an abstract concept that's always changing. Okay, so the comment is, hey Nick, I heard that some people recover from OCD by not reacting with fear with the thoughts and feelings that come throughout the day, since by doing so, you rewire your brain and what's scary and what's not. Can you make a video elaborating on this and explain what to do when the thoughts and feelings hit you suddenly and how to react and respond? Now, there's about 3 things in this particular comment that I want to go through. So let's go to the very first part. I heard that some people recover from OCD by not reacting with fear to the thoughts and feelings that come throughout the day. And so you rewire your brain. So yes and no. There is an aspect where you're learning to allow automatic rumination. I always use the example of being sick. When you cough and you have a virus, the cough doesn't go away until the virus goes away. That's a symptom of the actual virus. Rumination, intrusive thoughts, images, sensation, urges, depersonalization, derealization, just the chronic shame and guilt, all the tightness in your chest, the neck muscles, stomach problems. Those are all primarily automatic symptoms because your nerves are so fired up because your beliefs are held in such strong manners. So you're not going to be able to just not react to the fear and the thoughts as they come and just recover by doing that. It's a piece of it, but it's certainly not the whole story because that would be just thoughts in a different manner. Now, the principles of thoughts has a lot of applicability. It teaches you how to allow intrusive thoughts to be there. But there's a couple bad things about intrusive thoughts. It gives the idea that OCD takes orders from thoughts. It doesn't matter what type of intrusive thoughts, images, sensation, urges I get. It's my belief about the presence of them. Oh my gosh, experiencing intrusive thoughts is so terrible. Oh my gosh, this means something about me. It's the core fear, whether it's fear, the fear of just experiencing intrusive thoughts, images, sensation, urges, and then all the other particular fears that are correlated with that. The second part, and I think this is the most important part to cover, is so you rewire your brain about what's scary and what's not. So the advancement of the internet has given people master's degrees in neurology. So neurology, the concept of neuroplasticity and rewiring your brain doesn't matter at all when it comes to OCD. You could never even learn to spell the word neuroanatomy or neurophysiology or synapses or dopamine or serotonin. That stuff doesn't matter at all. So it's important to cover this. You don't ever hear us talk about rewiring brain or decreasing or upregulating the prefrontal cortex. That stuff is probably what's going on, but it's a distraction. The only things that truly matter for OCD recovery are, number 1, okay? You know, I got my sticky pads out. Number 1, okay? is the belief. It's the most important part of OCD. It's the most important thing in life, but the most important thing is your belief. And I'll parenthesize that, and I'll put your irrational belief, okay? The second most important thing is your compulsive behaviors. I'll do com for short, and your avoidance, okay? The third most important thing is understanding, okay? So knowledge about how OCD operates practically. That's backdoor spikes, relapses, why it feels as real as it can get. It has nothing to do with neuroanatomy, neurophysiology, neuropathology, brain structures, lobes of the brain, hormones, downregulation, all these big words that people tend to use. So like when I watch a video that has 10 million views by a world-renowned someone talking about OCD or anxiety, and they start using these words, I know they don't understand OCD. It's not easy to understand OCD. We know that none of that stuff matters. All that matters is these three things, okay? The belief you hold, the compulsions and avoidance behaviors that you have that glue it together. It's the fuel in the engine, and the knowledge about why it works the way it does from a practical standpoint. Why it takes a while, why it feels as real as it can get, why you're going to doubt everything. Why automatic rumination is often missed by people that speak about OCD, et cetera, et cetera. So can you make a video and elaborate on this and explain what to do when thoughts and feelings hit you suddenly and how to react? Okay, so let's use an example. We'll use Nick. Nick is at work, okay? So Nick is at work. And Nick is, let's say I am a banker, okay? I'm a teller of the bank. So I'm speaking to people all day long, right? You're like, oh, I gotta be concentrated. I'm dealing with numbers and et cetera, et cetera. So Nick has a fear. He has an irrational belief about relationships, okay? So we're just gonna put, for parentheses, we're gonna put ROCD. So Nick has ROCD. So Nick's at work, he's a banker, and he has ROCD. So all day, when Nick is really stuck, maybe he's having a bad relapse, a backdoor spike, Nick is having intrusive, we'll put primarily for Nick, and this can vary from person to person, we'll say thoughts and urges. Now, those thoughts are, oh my gosh, am I in the right relationship? Does the person love me? The urges are messaging them. Hey, why are you answering my text? All the different urges that come along with it. Checking their social media, rechecking old pictures to check if you're in love, et cetera, et cetera. So, a lot of that, this is important, a lot of that intrusive thought, images, urges, all that stuff is very automatic. And this is something that many people miss. Because what they do is they go around in circles trying to decrease this automatic cycle, and it doesn't get them very far. Again, think about the example of being sick. Imagine if I had COVID and I was coughing. And you said, Nick, stop coughing. And I was like, that's not possible. How am I going to stop coughing? I'm sick. Okay. Now, the big question, let's go over it one more time. Nick's a bank teller. He's at work. He has ROCD, the fear of being in the wrong relationship. He's speaking to people, but as he's speaking to them, the automatic of just the images and the rumination, the tight clamp, the vice around your head, you're like, ah, what's going on? Over and over and over again. Now, okay, this is where people don't want to hear what you have to do. So, what do you do in those situations? This goes against everything what everyone thinks that we know and everything I thought I knew, okay? Number one, okay? You have to learn to allow all intrusive thoughts, images, sensations, and urges to be present as best as you can, okay? You're not going to be able to do that right off the bat. Number two, you have to realize that it's not that they mean nothing. Because if you have intrusive thoughts always about breaking up, that gives you an insight into what the core fear is. But they don't mean as much as we think. So we have to allow them to be there. Then we have to understand, and this is a really important part, we have to understand not going away. Okay? Not going away. So again, remember, bank, teller, rational beliefs. I'm talking to Sally and Jimmy, and all of a sudden it's just intrusive images, urges. Oh my God, check your phone. Oh my gosh, blah, 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 blah. allowing that to be there, realizing there's nothing you can do in the moment to make that go away, understand that it's not going to go away today. And then the third piece is, this is a huge part, slow the process down. Now, I don't mean physically slow it down. You're not going to be like, like not that. I have to make things very literal because when we're suffering, we're not thinking properly, okay? So you're slowing the process down. You go, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm going to have intrusive thoughts and images and urges all day at work. I'm not going anywhere. It's going to be like the itch on the back of my neck. But in time, I can allow myself to become more comfortable with those things as I start to shift some of my beliefs about this stuff. Critical, key aspect of the recovery journey. So let's do a summary. Remember, let's go back to the whole thing. I heard that you can recover from OCD by not reacting with fear to the thoughts and feelings. A key part, but not enough. That's more thoughts or thoughts. OCD takes orders from beliefs. That's a key part. It rewires your brain to what's scary and what's not. It's not that simple. We kind of wish it was that simple. We don't have to know anything about rewiring, neuroplasticity, hormones, dopamine, serotonin, any of that stuff. We don't know any of that stuff. Even though it is really cool. I mean, you hear me. I'm a nerd. I tend to be someone that goes all in on things because of a plethora of different reasons. But I've also accepted that, so it causes me no anxiety and no panic. A little bit different. That's deep end stage recovery stuff where you could talk about it's not like, oh, it's a different level of recovery. It's just in the beginning, there's basics. Then as you become more rational and you break things down, you go, oh, like if I wanted to be the #1 rock climber on earth, I'm probably not going to be balanced, but I can accept that. It's hard for people to wrap their head around that in the very beginning when they're having panic attacks and chronic shame and guilt. Can you make a video to elaborate on this and explain what to do when the thoughts and feelings hit you suddenly? Like I said, you're learning how to allow them to be there. Intrusive thoughts, images, sensation, urges. You're not trying to rid thoughts. You're not doing deflection. You're going to feel confused. Am I doing this properly? I feel like I'm getting worse. Once you start to do the right thing, you're going to feel like shit. Let me give you a practical example. I use these all the time in my coaching. Have you ever met someone who struggled with alcoholism? Maybe they drank a 10, 12 pack of beer every day with shots, bad lifestyle, 20 years. They go, I'm done. I want to get sober. And then by the third or fourth day, they said to you, I feel so much better. They don't. They have withdrawal symptoms. They have withdrawal symptoms. They have headaches. They have all the other symptoms. Same thing with hard drugs. I mean, but this is exactly what it is. Our body, it's a habit. We want the compulsions. We want the reassurance. We want the venting. We want the certainty. So when you start to slow the process down, you like my ninja stuff right there? I get my ass kicked. So, and slow the process down, oh gosh, just be thankful you don't have ADHD. Some people are going to hear that and be like, oh my God. So slow the process down and realize there's nothing I can do in the moment. I'm not going to be able to rid myself of how I'm feeling. I can learn to accept this right now. And look, all you that watch my videos know I like to joke around because I think one of the most important things is connecting with the community, getting to know people, and just having a good time because OCD can really be serious while providing good information. And when you look at someone like myself, high energy, type A, off the walls, and I can learn to slow the process down. Yes, it was uncomfortable. Yes, it takes time, but this is key. Overall summary, remember, beliefs drive the cycle, irrational, strong must, shoulds, and oughts. Okay? Compulsions and avoidance behaviors are the glue that bind it together. And it just keeps going and going and going because you're doing the compulsions, reinstilling the fear. When you're experiencing intrusive thoughts, images, sensation, urges, and feelings, you're allowing them to be there, changing your relationship with them, which is primarily fear. Anytime you don't want to experience a symptom, you're usually afraid that symptom's going to go forever, on top of the other core fears, let's say being a bad person or going to jail. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I like doing this out and pulling out my markers. I got all anyone that does coaching by me, we always laugh because I have all my new colors now. So I get on the color track and I'm just going to town when I take notes. Fun for me, but just the way I do it, something I like to do, a little added touch, and I think the people I coach really like it. Thank you again, Phil at OCDrecovery.com. Don't forget about our webinar services, 8:30 p.m. on Tuesday, and hope to hear from you soon. Have a good one, everyone.